This is Abe Freetanzer from Awards Watch, and I'm so excited to be here today with Pedro Almodóvar discussing his short film Strange Way of Life. How are you, Pedro?
Oh, very, very well. I mean, very illuminated with this interview. Uh, I feel very grateful with the attention that my short has since it released in theaters, which is very amazing. So thank you for your time.
Of course, thank you. What is it like making short films at this point in your career after doing so many features for so long?
Yeah, when I start thinking, I have always the idea of making the human voice into a short. I mean, it should be a short because the play is long, like 30 minutes. So, and then it was a moment when I made my own adaptation. I discovered that I should write much more because it was written a century ago. So the kind of women that represents the monologue of Cocteau, it is very different from one contemporary women. So I have to adapt it to a contemporary time. And and I felt when I was so I was also, I was like obsessed with Cocteau. I mean, actually, it appears, in the Women of the Universe of Paremus Breakdown. I mean, it's a woman with the baggage of the man that is leaving her, and also appears in Where in Love Desire. So finally, I did it with Tilda, and what was very important for me is that I was completely free with during the shooting and writing the other long feature, but here I recover a kind of freedom, and perhaps this is something that I felt that, but I felt really like at the beginning of something, like I was starting, and this is a very stimulant feeling. Um, and then I wanted to go beyond that. I mean, to make something else. No, actually, I think that I will make a third one. Uh, because it means also to decide your own career. By yourself. I remember that before doing that, I was having an interview with other directors here in Madrid. We were making a TV show, and we were the nominees for best director to the Goyas. The Goyas are like the Oscar, the Spanish Oscars. And then they ask us about our feature, and all of them they have like all of them. Four of them they have a series in the future. And they thought that I was joking when I said, well, my dream, and this is something that I think I hope to do it, is just to make a short. And they thought that it was a joke, and it was not. My illusion it was to make a short. There are some stories that shouldn't be more than 20 or 25 or 30 minutes. So you can make it longer, but I don't. Now I think that ahora creo que con la presencia de las plataformas, el modelo de duración de las ficciones ha cambiado.
Yeah, I think now with the streamers, the length and the style of the narrations has changed.
Yo he visto, por ejemplo, un corto de Paul Thomas Anderson de 15 minutos. Creo que se ha flexibilizado. Entonces, eso hace posible que la existencia de otros formatos como el corto.
Yeah, so for example, I've seen something by Thomas Anderson that was 15 minutes long. And so I think that adds this sort of flexibility around the possible lengths and formats of the stories that are being
No,
shown.
el problema es que yo quería, para mí, es como si fuera una película. es una narración cinematográfica y mi ilusión era poder enseñarla en los cines y afortunadamente así ha sido.
But for me, of course, it's still a cinematic kind of narrative, and my dream was that it would play in the theaters, and in fact, it has played in the theaters.
And after with Strange Way of Life, really, I mean, they were very, I mean, I experiment a lot of pleasure doing these two shorts. In one hand, I mean, just finishing this obsession with Cocteau and working with Tilda Swinton that I really dream of working with her. And in A Strange Way of Life, I really wanted to make a story, short story of these two guys, middle age or adult. I can't say old men because they are like 55, but not young men, not young boys. Having this love story with a night of full of sex and alcohol, and that they could talk. Basically, you know, the story goes as you know, but what was very new for me, it was that these kind of characters, they talk about what they did during the night, and because really is that the point that I don't remember. I mean, with the exception of Brokeback Mountain, I don't remember westerns. What the western is very American and very masculine. It's a male genre, but is that it was not only that they were gay, but they talk about that. You know, I mean, I didn't show the naked bodies of them, but I mean, the words are naked, and I think it was much stronger, and I really enjoy to direct Ethan Hawke and Pedro in this situation because it sounds very new for me, and that was very appealing for that. Fortunately, they wanted to do it. They were my first choice. I knew them before. I met Ethan here in Madrid, and I met Pedro Pascal in New York when he was doing King Lear. So immediately, I mean, without talking with the agencies, I mean, I sent them the script, and they really love it, and they said, "Oh, okay, we are going to Madrid and spend our summer there." They were very enthusiastic, and that's you know always helps to the director. And also since the beginning, even that they are two very different, and I wanted two very different physically and different type of actors, but even they were perfect for the character that I wrote. But since the beginning, they didn't knew each other. It was a chemistry, an immediate chemistry between them, and that also make everything much easier. So it was no, I'm very glad that I could do it because this is like a capriccio is whim, no, like a whim for me. And I didn't want to make a long feature as a western. I wanted just to isolate this situation of these two men in these circumstances. Just develop till that moment when there is a moment of relaxing because one is bounded, the other is with the arm, but they are quiet and just looking through the window how the sunrise, o sea, cómo va cayendo la noche, en un momento como de tranquilidad.
Yeah, at the moment in which night is falling, it's a quiet, tranquil moment.
Me gustaba eso como final, lo había decidido desde el principio, aunque da la impresión de que uno mantiene raptado al otro en la cama, pero, o sea, da la impresión de ser un final feliz, pero no lo es. O sea, cuando me han preguntado en entrevistas, siempre digo que el sheriff que hace Ethan saldrá cuando esté curado y saldrá en busca del hijo de Silva en México. Y
Yeah.
eso sería una película como de Sam Peckinpah. Sería el futuro de cómo continuaría la historia.
Yeah, and so even though, right, this ending as the sun is falling seems like a happy ending, right, with one of them who is still being held captive, it's not actually a happy ending. People have asked me, and I've had to tell people that no, in fact, I imagine that what the story does is it moves on to Silva, Ethan Hawke's character going to Mexico in search of Silva's son, and Silva going after them, and then it turns into more of a Sam Peckinpah kind of movie that does not have a happy ending.
Which I love because I love Sam Peckinpah anyway.
Well, this is really great. Do you feel like this is at all like anything you've made before, any of your other films, or this is just something fully new for you?
Perdón,
Que si sientes que es algo que ya habías probado en algunas de tus otras películas o que si realmente sientes que esto es algo completamente nuevo.
O sea, en mis otras películas se habla del deseo y se habla del deseo masculino, del deseo entre dos hombres. De hecho, mi compañía se llama El Deseo y empezamos con La Ley del Deseo, que trata este tema. Y también de un modo muy explícito, tanto físico como oral.
Yeah. So, you know, in my previous films, I've always dealt with desire, right? It's particularly masculine desire. In fact, the name of my company is El Deseo, right? Which means desire. And the first film that we shot within the company was La Ley del Deseo, the law of desire. And so, you know, I've always dealt with desire both in expressed orally and also explicitly physically.
But in that moment, I was very young. I mean, I was at least 35 years less than now. So it's different if you face, a desire between two men when they are like 50 something. It is a completely different stuff. So, I mean, the closer that I was to this subject and in this situation was in Pain and Glory than they were, I mean, Antonio Banderas and Leos Baralla, they were like that age. But the fact that this story happens in the Old West and between the two cowboys add something different to the story, because you know, the Western, as I told you, is a male genre. I mean, the women only have secondary or supporting roles, but they are never the protagonists of the story. I mean, with the exception of perhaps with Johnny Guitar, but but they are very masculinized women, Joan Crawford and Mercedes McCambridge. But it's curious that you know, I mean, for me, it's curious that, for example, when I see the series with Kevin Costner, ¿cómo se llama?
Stone?
Yes, with so many guys living in the same room, that they are so machos, all of them. But not only that, even the female characters, they are very masculine. I mean, the actress that made the daughter of Kevin Costner is more masculine than the others. I mean, I don't have anything against that series. It's very entertaining, but I think it's very old-fashioned. Now we can talk about this, I don't have that commitment to be successful with a big series, so then I make the choice to do it in a short.
Wonderful. Well, Pedro, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to Carla Marcantonio for being here today. I really appreciate both of you, and such a pleasure to get to discuss this film with
Oh,
both of
thank
you.
you so much. But I hope that Kevin Costner is not that will be mad with me for saying that he's not guilty of anything. Okay, no, thank you so much.